Good afternoon. So the wind today was stronger than the first time we tried this, and I had this spot in mind as a doable spot. It's the end of the season, not much wind in the Bay period, and this is probably like the best chance we had. So timing lined up, and I was thinking, we dragged the ladder all the way out there, and so Christian goes and takes a look, and he's like, "Hey man, I think we can just stack up the driftwood and we'll be good. And you want to come out and like confirm that it seems doable?" So I go check it out. I'm like, "Oh man, yeah." He'd already had it built, and so bolt up the foil and head out there, and away he went. And so I'm stoked. The wind was like, I don't know, high teens, whereas the first time we did it, it was only like 13, low teens, so like nothing. And this part of the bay always has, or usually has, bigger bumps, period. And then by the time we got out there and set up, the wind was already fading on the inside, as we can see from pretty much the complete absence of any whitecaps. Whereas maybe a half mile out, the wind was hitting maybe 20, and then 2 or 3 miles out, it was in the mid 20s. But so some of that juice was still getting in here. But as far as rideable bumps goes, this is like marginal to non-existent. Like the way I looked at it, if I was winging out here today, I tried to left the wing, I could probably only get a 1 or 2 or 3 second ride at most, and have to sheet in again to keep going. And so just another test in the books as far as what's possible with this setup. On this day, for the amount of wind and the conditions, I would have had a hard time winging. The wind was pretty up and down. So I'm stoked to see a nuking day, a solid mid-20s or even 30-plus day when the bumps are at least waist high or chest high or bigger, and just see what's possible and how it goes and what it's like. And one of the really cool things about this setup, as far as the driftwood start, is the vast majority of the San Francisco Bay is lined with these awful rock walls, like jagged, gnarly rock walls that are really bad for getting in and out of the water with wings or kites, or even trying to scale it in, windsurf gear. It's just it's not a good way to get in and out of the water. But for wedging some driftwood, some logs into the rocks and using it as a diving board, it's perfect. It's like the killer app for building these god awful rock walls finally is invented, 50 years later or whatever. And there's tons of driftwood and poles and piers and all kinds of stuff that washes up on all these beaches all the time, especially in winter after a big storm. There's tons of stuff that washes up. So we gotta have, these little runoff dock diving board things all over the place, and have various depths, so we could go from a 7-foot tide down to a -1 tide and be able to do it no matter what. And so I'm stoked. It's a cool. I don't know if this is like the perfect or the best launch vehicle for getting up on a tiny board in the bumps. Maybe there's another way. Maybe there's some like combination of like electric launcher or some other thing nobody's thought of, but like so far this seems like the most doable. I tried the bungee, and the amount of work and the setup and the pulling it back every time, it's so kind of cumbersome and difficult, and that I'm over that. But like this seems doable. It's just gotta like put in the time to get the dock start down, and then it opens up a whole new arena, a whole playing field of fun, and just even if he came up short here, didn't quite make it to the beach, but it's a pretty simple paddle to the wall. And then, it's a tiny bit sketchy going up the slippery rocks on the lower tide, but the walk back or wherever we want to walk with this, the tiny board and foil makes it easy. So I'm stoked. It's cool. So I hope this helps, and thanks for watching.